Good morning, everyone. Okay, we'll continue our book reading this morning. Toyota Way to Service Excellence by Jeffrey K. Liker and Karen Ross. We are still looking at the lean transformation in service organization, and we are in chapter 4. It says developing lean process. Still looking at the short, or rather, still reading on the short story of NL Service Corporation. Is the credit transaction company, telling us their processes, their vision, telling us the story about their company, telling us how they established a team, how they identified the problem, and how they used the consultants for all this. Yesterday on page 100, we looked at understanding the current state. We looked at their understanding the current state, where Sam and Leslie works together to put a team that will help the credit transaction process to be effective and also work towards satisfying customers. So today we'll continue from there. Still on putting together a team by Sam. And remember yesterday we read that this team was put together by Sam it was made up of different people from different departments. The name of the team is the Improvement Team and Credit Transaction Processors. So this team is made up of Joe, Laura, Jogga, Kathy, Jimmy, and Tabitha. So these are the 6 CTPMs, that is Credit Transaction Processing Managers, and their teams of how they are going to work. So today we'll still continue from there, how they put together a team and what this team is actually going to do for NL Service Corporation. So at 8 a.m., just as Leslie finished taping up the flow chart paper, the members of the team arrived, settling into their seats, sipping their morning coffee. They looked expectantly at Leslie. "Good morning, everyone," Leslie said cheerfully. "I'm so excited to be working with all of you. We have got a lot of work to do over the next few days. But I believe that we are going to all learn a lot that we'll be able to use to help us and our customers. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on this team. I know that this is a new way of working at NL Service Corporation, so I appreciate your willingness to give it a try." Leslie paused for a moment as she handed out a template that she had created for the team to use. "Before I explain what this template is for, I have a quick question for the team," Leslie continued. "How many of you think that all the credit transaction processors do their work in the same way?" Tabitha answered first. "Absolutely," she said. "We all receive the same training and we have SOPs for each type of credit transaction. And we all want to do what is best for our customers." Jimmy and Katie nodded their heads vigorously in agreement with Tabitha. "And we all sit so close to each other," said Jimmy. "I can hear what other credit transaction processors on my team are saying to customers, and I can pretty much guarantee we are all doing our work the same way." CTPMs asked Leslie, "What do you think?" The 3 CTPM looked back and forth uncomfortably from Leslie to each other. Finally, Jog in a low voice said, "Leslie, I'm going to be honest here. I have no idea. I assume they do. My team members are all good people and do their best to make our customers happy every day. But between going to meetings, reading reports, and answering emails, I really don't have any time to spend figuring out how the credit transaction processors do their work. Truthfully, when I really think about it, I have no idea how many work get done on my team." Leslie walked over to stand beside Jog. Looking at him kindly, she said, "Jog, Thank you so much for your honesty. It takes a lot of courage to admit that you don't know. When we go to work, we aren't paid for uncertainty, to not know, but to be certain and know things, especially as a supervisor or manager. In my experience, though, oftentimes the assumption that we have about how we work and how things get done for our customers are just that, assumptions. And as we all know, assumptions are more often than not wrong. So this morning, what we are going to do is go on a fact-finding mission. We are going to go to the Gemba. That's the word that we lean folk use for the place where the actual work that our customers want and need us to do for them gets done. And we are going to record what we see and hear so we can find out what the facts are. Leslie then spent a few minutes explaining how to use the templates that she had distributed. They will use two different forms into two stages of observation. In the first stage, each CTPM and credit transaction processor pair would spend 1 hour listening to another credit transaction processor answering calls, and then 1 hour watching that credit transaction processor enter emails. For the first stage, they will simply time circle of work. How long did it take for each case from start to finish? There was also a place on the form for general notes about the transaction. They would also note what type of call it was in case this made a difference in the time. They will use this information to plot a run chart of how long it takes for each call on one chart and email on a second chart, and get a picture of the variation in cycle time by type of work and credit transaction processor doing the work. In the second stage, they would then spend half as much time observing using a more detailed form, showing steps followed. There would be one sheet to fill out for each call or email. The CTPM would write down the steps used by the credit transaction processor in the first column on the left-handed side and add any comment or note about interruptions or problems that step in the column beside it. The credit transaction processor would time each step and record the time for each step in the right-hand column. They would use one sheet per call or email. They would also record calls as they could confirm time. This second stage will lead to a detailed picture of steps followed, the sequence, and the time per step for different tasks and different credit transaction processors. Okay, this is your stuff for our reading this morning. Still on understanding the current situation. So in their bid to finally understand what has been happening at NL credit transaction, they had to go through all this step. They had to bring in, there has to be change of things. One change that was initiated was that they had to have a vision, which we read in our previous chapter. They had to have a vision and then look for strategies and ways to make that vision come true, which is what we are learning today. So to understand that current state of NL transaction, Sam had to bring in a chart that they will use. First of all, she had to put together a team, then made a chart, then went to work with the other managers. That is monitoring, coaching, as in went to the Gemba. Like she said, the Gemba is actually where the work is done for their customers, to monitor what their credit transaction processors are actually doing, monitor their call time, how long it takes to answer a call, how long it takes to send an email, how long it takes to make all these things. And there was a sheet and a graph that was and process and steps for observation, like a form that was actually put in place for all this observation. There was a cycle time observation form, there was a process time observation form, and there was also a run chart. All these things were like a research that was done after the problem has been identified, and also still identifying the problems and processes, so that you will be able to know where the problem is coming from and also find out solutions to it. So this is where we'll stop for reading this morning. Thank you.